My early life. I grew up in a place called. I was born in Duncan, British Columbia, which is a small town in the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island. Um, and then I lived in Scotts Falls, but I was too young to remember that. That's like outside of Lake Cowichan, but closer to Duncan. Then I moved to a place called Yubo, which is where I had my first memories. I was 18 months old, and I remember waking up from a nap, and I was in a crib, and a lot of my memories, like core memories, like involve windows with light coming through them, and that was the first one. And I remember waking up being worried, like where is my mom, calling out to her and being frustrated when she didn't, and then all of a sudden I don't remember like in between, but then I come to and she's holding me, and I just remember like the comfort. And I lived a very traumatic childhood, and that like living a childhood like that, you don't really have a lot of good memories because your brain has this like beautiful defense mechanism where it filters out all of the traumatic experiences that you have. So huge gaps of my childhood are completely missing. Although, what I remember in explicit detail, and I am forever grateful that at 18 months old, my first memories of my mother were not like traumatic ones, because I know of people who their first memories are like DV experiences and stuff like that. So I appreciate my mother for that. This house that we lived in Yubo was very run down. I remember there was holes in the ground, like inside of the apartment. There was hole like or house. There's holes all over the like ground, because in like it's very humid out there, and also there was mushrooms that would grow in like corners of the house. So I'm sure it was full of black mold. But it was rank, and because of the holes in the ground, I would have these dreams of falling down them, and everything would be fine on the top, but then I would fall down the hole and it would be just infinite black on the bottom instead of a basement like the house actually had. It was just infinite black, and I would yell to my mother to come get me off of the couch. And because of her mental illness, she never got up, and I would fall, and I would fall into this black nothingness. And I that's because of the holes in the ground in this one apartment. And then we moved into another place. To me, this place was, I enjoyed it. It was like the happiest I think I ever was as a child. I was 3 years old, and we moved to the second house from the community center, and also bowling alley. And the interesting thing about the bowling alley in Yubo is it is the only bowling alley in the country, I believe, that still to this day uses humans to reset the pins instead of a machine. So it's actually a lot of people's first jobs that they get. I think my brother worked there actually, but yeah, we lived right by there, and in that house um, is where I really developed my love for the outdoors. Because I was a child of the '90s. I was on the cusp of like letting your children go out and do whatever they want all day, and like in the birth of helicopter parenting. Um, I went to school with a lot of people who had helicopter parents, and I was one of those children that had. My mother was older, so she had like older style of parenting. So basically, I was left to fend for myself. By the time my mom had me, she was 40, and she was tired. And in my opinion, I don't think that it was smart of her to have two more children so late in life, especially with her mental illnesses. Having said that, um, I also believe that when you are up in heaven in your form of your higher self, we choose our families to come down here and learn. And I just know because when I think I was 36. Yeah, I lived outside. I was 36 years old, and I had an entenolol overdose, and I I died. I remember dying very specifically. I remember laying down, looking up. I was on my back, and I had my bag on my stomach, and I remember like, why was my bag on my stomach? That was my last thought. And the next thing I know, I am in this expanse of it, just like the dream. It was just like that, except there was this office, and there was a floor. There's a checkered floor and a big wooden desk, and these two women, a black woman and a blonde woman, chubbier, and they were in their 40s, and it was very clerical. But when you look behind them, there was no wall. It was just infinite. The only thing was a floor and a desk. And I had a conversation with them, and basically they're like, you are going back. And the next thing I knew, I was back in the woods, standing up straight. And I remember I was talking to my partner at the time, and I was like, I have this meeting I have to go to. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, I died and I am in a different timeline. There's like a much crazier addition to that story that I'm afraid to tell people about, but because it was just so wild and out of this world, and is one of the reasons why I know God is real. But I just I just know there's something beyond this life. I've experienced it multiple times. I've experienced like, I wouldn't say near death experiences, but total death experiences where I've shifted from one timeline to another. Especially when I was on the streets of Vancouver, it was something that I went through on multiple occasions. The last time it happened to me, I believe that I was told, I just had this feeling that I had an interaction with these people again that I don't remember, and they straight up said, like, this is your last opportunity to get your shit together, and if you continue to die, you were going to put you into a different life. And I could feel it in my bones, like this was and I just was like, okay. And I worked really, really hard to get off of the streets from that moment. It's so embarrassing. I remember going to the cops after that happened to me because I had my foot broken. And they said, and I was like, I have their names and everything. And they're like, well, maybe if you didn't Oaks May entenolol, this wouldn't happen to you. And got back in their car and drove away. They treated me like I was nothing. And I don't know. I'm hoping to get better. No, I am getting better so that I can be an advocate for people who are still out there. The reason that I do these videos is because I want to be like a beacon of hope for people who have loved ones that are still on the streets, just so that you can see me and see that it's possible to get better, and those people they just need people to just not give up on them. It makes a big difference. Like, if I didn't have people that didn't give up on me, I don't know where I would be.